Hello and welcome back. In this video, I'm going to cover all the 10 marks previous year's questions from the chapter of childhood and growing up. The paper is the first paper, that is development and its characteristics. This is the fourth video of Write B.Ed on your own program. Before starting, I am making few things clear. The first thing, what will I deliver? And the second thing, what you all need to do. Here I am going to deliver the methods through which you can actively recall and write on the examination. It's not just mere not it's not the like a normal class, but here we will learn how to generate the answer on our own. It's not just I am looking at any content and I will make you understand. It's not like that. If you have any doubt, just before proceeding, you can watch the previous live session videos or the recordings. So let's move forward to the second thing, that is what you all need to do and what I expect you all to do. That is few things, two or three things. First of all, you have to scribble whenever I am teaching or saying anything, any point, or writing down anything. You have to write down with me. The second thing, whenever I say think about this particular topic for 1 minute, you really have to think, because by thinking or by recalling or by managing all the information you already had in your life, you have to prepare the answer. Otherwise, it is pretty much difficult and almost impossible to mug up all the important things or all the questions that were previously asked. And the third thing, just after finishing this live session, you have to revise the content immediately. One or two times, just go through the content. And the last, before you go to the bed at night or whenever you sleep, you have to revise and you have to actually recall all the things. You just have to look at any topic and you have to recall the things. And when you get up in the morning, when you start your studies, you have to check which areas you couldn't be able to recall and which areas are pretty easy to understand. The areas you couldn't recall, those areas you have to do something more work. You have to do some more works. Yeah. So let's get forward and wake up with Arnab. So the first question of today of the 10 marks, that is Erickson's psychosocial development and educational implications. Before proceeding, I wanna make you clear one another thing. The 5 marks questions, all the 5 marks questions I covered are almost getting repeated. around 85% questions are being repeated here. I mean, if you study thoroughly those 5 marks questions that I covered, you can be able to answer for 10 marks as well. You just need to have the ability to write down the things. So there are 3 or 4 or maximum 5 questions, 5 topics that were asked for 10 marks questions, and those topics we will cover thoroughly. But the other 85% or other maybe 10 questions are there, or 8 9 questions are there, those questions are largely repeated. So we will try to connect our previous knowledge or previous studies with these things that we are covering for 10 marks. So Erickson's psychosocial development and educational implications we already covered. You can just rely upon the previous videos for this topic, but if you wanna continue watching it, it will benefit you by just getting it revised. So we knew one thing, the full name of Erickson is very simple, Erik Erikson. So the first question, that is Erickson's psychosocial development. And educational implications. If any one of you are new here, I need to make you understand one thing. These type of study methods are only applicable for the exam purpose. If you want to know more, you have to go thoroughly through various books or even the books written by Erickson, where psychosocial development and its educational implications are mentioned in a very detailed way. But this method that I am following is only meant for the clearing the exams and getting good marks by making diagrams, using the examples and beautiful words to be used in the introduction and the conclusion. We hope that our papers will be checked by some very serious teachers, and to get their mind or to get good marks, extract good marks from them, we have to really do something good on our exam paper. So let's move forward. In the introduction, here you can see you can see, you will be able to see the introduction will be a little bit more in depth, and also some more words will be there, because this question isn't of 5 marks. You have to write at least more or less 200 to 300 words over here. If you want to know the exact words that to be written, I'm making you informed. Just give me a moment. For 2 marks, you have to answer the question in 50 words. For 5 marks, you have to answer the question in 150 words, and for 10 marks, you have to answer the question in 300 words. It's never the words that matter the most. It is the content, because you are obviously giving this exam and you are willing to become a teacher. So the quality of the content, it matters a lot. Along with, you have to give some visual, very great visual representation, as I discussed in our my 3 older videos. You have to be visually very much, you have to represent the, you have to draw and makes your paper in such a way that you have all the qualities inside of you. You properly, thoroughly went through the topic, went through the subject, then you know how to create new things, and also you can connect the answer, the topic to the real world experiences by giving example. So all these things do matter a lot. I hope you will not ignore all these things. Let's get started. Erik Erikson proposed a comprehensive theory of psychosocial development consisting of 8 distinct stages across the human lifespan. Each stage represents a core conflict that individuals must resolve to grow socially and emotionally. In these type of long paragraphs, we can rely upon our mother tongue. This note is made in my mother tongue, that is Bengali, and also in the language that I will be writing. In that I will be writing in the exam, that is English. So for my better understanding, I will be try to understand the whole content through Bengali, and wherever it is important that I have to go through the English version, I have to do that. I will have to do that, and I will be doing in this video as well. So it will get benefited for those people who are from West Bengal or having the Bengali background and pursuing the B.Ed degree. So to Erik Erikson, he just separated, or he just made 8 important areas. He divided his or human's psychosocial development or and his theories in 8 parts, and in every part every human being has to face something, some important areas, and human being do solve those problems. So in introduction we can write Erik Erikson. First of all, we have to mention the name of the scholar or the author. It brings some good impression in the mind of the examiner. Erik Erikson, 8 stages of psychosocial development, and in every stages human being has to face facing problems or challenges, and human being has to resolve them. This will be the introduction. Let's come to the main points now. 8 psychological stages and educational implications. Stages and implications. First of all, trust versus mistrust. As we studied earlier, these are the same things. These are the exactly same things. You have to describe a bit. I mean, where in the 5 marks questions you have to describe in maybe 20 or 30 words. Now we have to describe in maybe 50, 60, 70 words. That's the difference. That's the only difference. First of all, trust and mistrust. Then it comes to autonomy versus shame. Next, it comes to initiative and guilt. The 4th stage, it comes to industry and inferiority. Fifth stage, identity versus whatever it is. I don't care. You all have to feel in this way that I don't care. I have to just remember all these stages to gain more and more marks. You have to write only one question. So if you thoroughly go through these things, at least I hope you no need to. It is my suggestion. You no need to go to newer topics because there are already a lot to study. If you only go through the areas or the questions that we already covered or you covered in the 5 marks area. That's it. Because there are only 2 or 3 questions, and among those three, you have to just write one question, and it is not the difficult part of the paper, I guess. And if you write down, I mean, write in a very well manner, it is more likely to you will be getting like 7 to 8 marks easily. Identity versus role confusion. Intimacy versus isolation. And generativity versus stagnation. You have to remember the name of this all 6, 7, 8 stages. At least you have to mention 6 stages because it is a 10 marks question. So you have to remember the 8 stages. You can use some other methodologies to remember these things, like you can use a mnemonic. You can try to create an analogy. How you can create an analogy? First of all, it is trust and mistrust, autonomy and shame, initiative and guilt, industry and inferiority, identity and role confusion, intimacy and isolation, generativity and stagnation. Let's find out what does what do all these things mean. First of all, trust and mistrust. এই স্তরে শিশু স্নেহের মাধ্যমে পৃথিবীর প্রতি আস্থা তৈরি করে। শিক্ষাবিদদের মতে প্রাথমিক যত্নে নিরাপত্তা দেওয়া জরুরি। ওকে, as we understood, trust means a stage of 0 to 1 year. What does a child do? In the first stage, the child only, you can say, remembers or recognizes his or her mother or his or her father, with whom the child stays almost every time. So trust versus mistrust means recognition or a sense of trust. The second part, autonomy versus shame. Toddlers learn independent choices. Parents and teachers should allow independence without severe criticism. Then autonomy and shame means you have to give independence. In the third point, initiative and guilt. Children actively initiate play activities. Educators should encourage creative play rather than punishing mistakes. Okay. So initiative and guilt means you have to let them play, because through playing you learn a lot of things. You can see those people who has been playing football or playing badminton or in any type of sports, they are extremely their mind is extremely well structured. So whenever a child starts playing, he or she gets developed. So you can mention this in the growth and development differences as well. So the fourth thing, school children thrive for academic competence. Teachers must praise efforts to avoid inferiority feelings. Okay. Again, I'm saying you can just go through the 5 marks version that you already read. That's it. That's all you can do. If there are some lesser points, like only 4 points, you can add 1 or 2. In the advent of AI, I mean artificial intelligence and all these technologies, it is no more very difficult to find the answers in the internet. Industry and inferiority means you have to encourage the children. The fifth point, identity versus role confusion. Adolescents search for personal identity. Educators provide career guidance and identity support. Career guidance and ID support. Sixth thing, young adults form loving and meaningful relationships with others. So when they go to the age of adolescence or maybe above adolescence, they try to be in the romantic relationship, love making. The seventh, adults focus on family guidance, social contributions, and reflecting on life achievements. Now they become adult, so they will behave like an adult. So they will focus on the family guidance. They will focus on the various contributions towards the society, social works, and ultimately they will try to reflect all their knowledge in their life achievements, or you can generate anything on your own. What they do, they will try to it is always better to write this type of language, but in the exam hall or in the right now when you are studying, if you get anything, if you connect any of your previous knowledge with this thing or the with this new knowledges, you should incorporate that. So connecting to the achievements. So these are the all 7 stages. So now I will make you understand. It's not like I am writing down the things in front of you. I will absolutely make you understand one thing. That is how you can recall these things in the examination. Just look at the age. The first stage is 0 to 1 year. The same thing uh, I have told when I was teaching this. I was making you learn this topic for 5 marks. 0 to 1 year, then 1 to 3, then 3 to 7. I guess it was 3 to 7. Then it comes to 7 to 11. Now 12 to or 7 to 12. I guess now 12 to 18. Now 18 to 40. Wow. And ultimately, so look at what a child of 1 year, up to 1 year, is doing. He or she trusts his or her mother or father, or whom or whoever is staying in the closest manner with them. Then it comes to autonomy, giving them freedom of think, freedom of doing something. Then they wanna play, they wanna do like take various initiatives. Then industry and inferiority, they wanna get praise, they wanna get uh, like this type of appreciations, then they what do? They wanna like any identity, so they need career guidance. Then they involve in romantic activities, getting in relationships, romantic relationships. Then it is like family guidance. It is like uh, connecting all their experiences through the in their achievements. These are the 7 stages. You have to just properly explain the 7 stages, and from these 7 stages you have to write an example. And another thing you have to do, that is one diagram. This is a question of 10 marks. If you can do or draw 2 diagrams, it will be better. But you have to draw a diagram. The type of diagrams you can use, you can go through the Google. There are a lot of diagrams available. So the example we can say, when a primary teacher publicly praises a struggling student for drawing a good shirt, the child gains confidence and avoids feeling inferior to peers. Okay, so example is very beautiful. What we can write: appreciate to a backward child. What happens? The child gets enormous confidence, and ultimately through this confidence they try to work harder, study harder, and ultimately gain a lot of potential or achievements. So you can write the example in this way as well, or it will be better if you just elaborate, because you have to fill the pages as well. It's not like you just wrote everything in half of the pages. Like in half page you wrote 300 words. So you have to maintain a balance. Now in the conclusion, you can write, you have to generate on your own. There's all these things. If all these things get ensured inside of a child, the child will be getting the holistic development and will be in a much more activities, good activities in the society, promote follow the rules of conduct in the society, ensuring the moral principles and ethical principles in their work culture, or in whichever areas they are getting or they are leading. They will ensure all those things in this way, in this beautiful way. You have to write down at the conclusion. Let's move forward to the second question, that Isink's trait theory, or you can say Isink's trait theory of personality, strengths and limitations. It doesn't mean by the scholar. It is just, I feel it is just an way to just get you confused. You just focus on the main topic, that is theory of personality and strengths and limitations. Trait theory of personality, strengths and limitations. It is advocated by whom? EYSENCK. Now just go to the Google and try to pronounce by on your own. This will make you a student who is actively engaged in the studies. You can say I think. I guess you can say I think. Yeah. So you can write the introduction in this way, that he put forward or he advocated a detailed explanation to make anyone understand about the theory of personality, strengths and limitations. Let's move forward to the various goods and bads. You have to remember or you have to think now for 1 minute that what does it mean by theory of personality? Which categories you can bring? What are the theory of strengths? Which categories you can bring here, and about the limitation as well. What try to generate at least 1 points from each section. 1 point from each section, and you are done with the topic. So just keep all the things you have wrote aside, and now let's try to connect all those things that you wrote with the main content. First of all, introversion versus extroversion. So some child or some people stay extrovert. They talk or they express their feelings in much more way, and some people who don't wanna talk or don't wanna share anything. So you can bring this thing introvert, introverts, introversion. You can write introversion and extroversion. You can write neuroticism and external stability. So neuroticism, what does it do? It tries to express the various emotional things from a human being, like maybe it is sadness, maybe it is anger. So all the emotional aspects are all the emotional aspects are getting expressed. You can write in bracket anger, sorrowness. You can write now another point, that is I think. It is I think, right? Yeah. I think used the procedure or the method of factor analysis. That is pretty much scientific. Usage of factor analysis. That is scientific. Then psychoticism, as we discussed earlier, represent aggressive behavior, impulsivity, and lack of empathy towards social groups. Okay. B.Ed is all about the psychology. It is all about the psychology. All these things are covered under the various courses or studies of psychology regarding psychology. The fourth point, psychoticism. Anyone who is very much um, scared about the time I'm taking to understand, make you understand, or to cover all these topics or one topic, it is little bit more because these topics are not very familiar with us, all of us. We, not all of us from the background of psychology. So this all these things we have never read before. So maybe most of us never read before all these topics. So I have to keep in mind that thing as well. So psychoticism, it talks about, represents aggressive behavior, impulsivity, and lack of empathy towards social rules. No empathy towards social rules. Plus, no, there will be presence of aggressive behavior. Fifth thing, biological basis connects personality dimensions directly to psychological brain functioning and genetics. The personality is being determined by the genetics and the way the mental structure has been formed. So, role of genetics and role of genetics and mental structure. If you have any problem regarding the visibility, I guess sometimes the whole thing gets little blurry, but after maybe just 5, 6, 7 seconds, it becomes all right. And if you can't see the words properly, first of all, rely upon my whatever I am saying on mic, and also try, you can have that option to just zoom in the screen and you can just go through the, look at the word. So the role of genetics and mutual structure, then it comes to the limitations that, like, there are some things that are determined through the social structure of that individual or the personal, social, or environmental structure of that personality. So I think didn't talk about or take care about all these things. This is the negativity key. What is the negative thing? That is, I think did not talk about the or didn't take care about the environmental and the social structure of individuals. Then I think try to give a idea that is pretty much in general. So you and me are not the same, na? Our social background, our you can say our political background, our economic background, all these things play an all important role behind whoever we are today. So I think didn't talk about those important factors that also carry some huge areas of the development of any individual. So it is very much uh, objective in nature and in general. In nature, what does it mean? No mention about social economic conditions. You can add also the environmental conditions. What is the example now? Just try to think what can be an example now. Any person, any person who is a stable gets an fail in exam. You will now think about how to pass the exam in the next term or in the next chance. And someone who is having neuroticism will, if this type of people get failed, he or she tries to starts crying or even complaining. From these things, from this content, you can draw one diagram or two diagrams, and you can simply draw the diagrams in a very beautiful way, and you can make the answer sheet very clear, very um, I would say very clear and very much like appealing to the person who is checking the answer sheet. Now move forward to the next question. Role of family in child rearing practices. This is again, we have covered this thing, and by the time I am writing down the topic, you have to recall, you have to generate 4, 5, 6 points about the role of family, about child rearing process. You can link the language, role of family in language, role of family in language development, role of family in the holistic development of the child. You can also include those things and just write down 6 points. It is very easy, just try to think. If you can think only about 2, 3 points, then also it is okay. If you can think about just 1 point, then it is much better. So to introduce, you can write the role of family is very important. It ensures that if the child is getting holistic development or the child is getting backward in terms of education, in terms of his or her career or any other thing, in terms of maybe maturity, then in the body you have 5 6 important points. First of all, build of confidence. You can write that whenever a family means parents. Family means now you have to you it is better if you don't get into the depth that if any child doesn't have its parents or his or her parents, then what? No, you have to just assume that one child is having their parents, and the way their parents behave, the way the whole family behaves, it plays an important role in terms of the rearing process of the child. Family means parents. So the build up confidence that whenever one parents, I mean any parents, they are giving basic supports, necessities, and also the emotional support, and they encourage the child. It builds confidence inside of the child. Then no forceful implementation of strict rules. No forceful implementation of strict rules. So whenever one family imposes very strict rules on the child that you can't do this, you can't do that, the child forgets how to think, how to the child forgets how to innovate new things. Maybe he or she is studying, so the child will have to follow the orders of the parents, and it makes their mind very much dependent on their parents. Like we see a lot of young boys and girls when they get into the age group of 18, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, they remain very much dependent on their parents. And because of this, like from the childhood, they had to follow the strict rules of their parents. So no independence. So when the family doesn't take care of the child in a proper way, makes the child to do like those things which are not very much willing or very much accepted to the society. So role of proper care. All these points you can generate by on your own just by thinking and accumulating all the previous knowledge you have about any subject, any social subject from the social studies, social science, or this type of areas. So the next point is when the family or the parents they teach the child about very much like morality or ethics, it makes them ethical, makes them to value the social rules, or principles of human rights. Then very important thing, that is emotional support. If one child can't perform in the activity, like very much those activities like playing, running, swimming, if one child can't perform, then it is quite possible that the child will get emotional. He or she will cry. He or she will complain that this happened, those happened, that girl or boy kicked me, and all these things. If you can't support as a parent, if you can't give support as a parent to that child, it will lead to the child getting, like, the child will feel that no one is there actually to understand his or her feelings. So no emotional support leads to uh, various problems. I just wrote various problems. You have to write whatever comes in your mind, that because of lack of emotional support this happens. Now the example, build the example from this. So whenever a child getting all the support from the family, he or she gets enormous confidence, or emotional support is being provided, he or she is becomes unstoppable, gets good marks, get very good performance in the various extracurricular activities as well. And from this you can make a diagram very easily. Let's move forward now. Definition of personality and Cattell's surface and source states. Through this Cattell, we learned about something. That is, the name of full name of Cattell is Raymond Cattell. Why? Suppose there is a showroom of Raymond, or try to recall the Raymond showroom in your hometown, and in front of that one cattle is eating grass. So whenever you see the word cattle, you will try to think that where did I see this cattle, or I imagine that cattle was standing in front of the Raymond shop. So the name is Raymond Cattle. What is the definition of personality? So personality and Cattell's surface and source states traits. So the full name is Raymond Cattell. What did he say about all these things? So first of all, before moving forward, what is the theory of Cattell? We have to define personality. What does it mean by personality? So it is very easy to think that what is meant by personality. Personality means I have some personality, you have something in different personality, your friend, your family, your relatives, they have different personalities. What does it mean by this thing, this word personality? The way of thinking, or the, you can write thought process, the way of analyzing, the way we behave, all these things do get included in the personality. You can include feelings as well. How you feel, it also defines your personality. What does it mean by surface state now? Surface trait means what? Try to think one thing, that surface means something is on the surface. It means it is visible. So about personality, whatever is visible. Maybe the person is very much emotional, maybe the person is very much uh, angry all the time. So whatever thing is visible, maybe the person is very much um, like the thought process or the behavior, whatever is visible, it is comes under the surface state. Now, what is source state? Source trait. Source trait means all these principles of the surface trait is being determined by this various principles of the source trait. What does it mean? I hope I am able to make you understand that surface trait has some principles which we can see about someone, the way they behave, the way they feel, the way they think, the type of personality they has, maybe emotional or angry or whatever it is, and all these feelings or all these characteristics which we can see, that is called as surface trait, and source trait determines the surface trait. If you still getting confused, just remember the name surface and source. Surface means whatever is visible, whatever is fallen on the surface, you can see it. So the visible all the characteristics, and source means it is the source. It is the source of the all the visible characteristics of surface trait. Now you can bring this those 16 personality formulas or personality factors that were meant that were uh, mentioned by Raymond Cattell. 16 personality formulas. So if you want to add an example, or you can make a diagram in this way: surface trait, behavior, um, emotion, language, thought process. This is a beautiful way to make the diagram. So now give an example. So to give an example, just try to mention about the source trait. So one person or one student has all the classmates. From where this is coming? The way he got the training of his or her behavior. So it is the reflection of the source state. He is behaving in a good way. What does it mean? It means that the person or the student got enormous training about his or her behavior, that in this way you should behave, in this way you shouldn't behave, and that is pretty much, which is pretty much illogical, unacceptable in front of the society. So this is all about personality. What does it mean by personality? And Cattell's surface and source traits. So surface source trait meaning you can get from the question itself, that Cattell's surface and source trait. You can for the value addition you can bring the 16 personality formulas that were mentioned by Raymond Cattell, and also you can draw one or two diagrams along with an beautiful example, and the introduction and the conclusion will should be made in a very beautiful language. I would suggest you just go through some various important information, introductions and conclusion formulas. That will help you a lot in the examination. 4 questions we have covered. Let's see how much time it is. Our target was 10. Okay. So it's been 1 hour. I think I'm getting little slow, but it gets justified if the content is very much good. Let's just move forward to do one another question. Then we can take a break of maybe 30 minutes. After that, there will be another session, and our main goal is today to just cover all the 10 marks questions and complete the paper 1, that is uh, development and its characteristics. So again, what is meant by personality? You have to define. You have to know about the Big Five model and why student teachers need to study child personality. It is a little bit unique because both the students and the teachers, why it is asked that why they are need to know about the student development, or the why they do need to study and know about students. Big Five model and why students and teachers should learn about children. So the Big Five model we already covered, that is the ocean. I am just drawing out one diagram. It is nothing to, there is nothing to elaborate much about Big Five model. Ocean, OCEA and N. For O, that is openness. For C, that is consciousness. For E, that is extroversion. For A, that is agreeableness. agreeability, sorry. And for N, it was something like neuroticism. Neuroticism, yeah. Neuroticism. You can make this type of diagram. If you wanna fill the page, you should make the diagram in a much larger way. Now, um, why student and teachers need to study child personality? Reason to study child personality for the teachers. It is better just if you can pause the video and think about the teachers. Why teachers should study about the child personality? Maybe it is to make the curriculum more inclusive. You can mention about the curriculum. You can mention about the inclusivity in the whole education system or in the whole school, to know how to form a group. If you don't know how to like how the children they think, or what are the personalities, different type of personalities of a child, of any child, of the children, then how will you get to know that how to make a group, how to make the classroom, how to arrange the classroom, how to promote the friendliness or brotherhood among the students? Then maybe uh, to know the the emotional areas of the children. That is what you can write in terms of teachers. Now you can write something more to find out exactly what to study. I mean, what to teach. This thing will be pretty much easy or easier if you think that you are yourself a teacher, and in this way you will be able to think about this thing on the examination and ultimately deliver on the exam paper and get good score. Then to understand that different children they think in a different way, so differentiated learning or teaching, so that it can get ensured. Now in terms of example, you can write again that one student, if he or she gets proper emotional assessment, or a curriculum that is made in such a manner that the whole system gets inclusive, then the children of the school they get the proper values or proper education of the various values, principles, and they will start and learn to respect the parents or various social norms in the society. This is how you can make a beautiful example. Let's see what is the academic words. What are the academic words? A student teacher realizes that a student who hesitates to speak in the class is not someone who has no intelligence. but simply he or she is introvert and requires gentle encourages or encouragement. So a student who doesn't speak much, it's not like he or she is having no intelligence, but needs a gentle push of appreciation. I'm not covering the conclusion. You can write through all the contents that I covered. So that's all for the session. It's been more than 1 hour. I think most of the students they will get little bit bored because these classes are very much content heavy classes, and I feel we should give proper rest to our mind. Just don't try to scroll your phone, just try to recall or just go through one or for 1 or 2 times all these things that you wrote along with me, and that's all you can do. And before going to the bed, try to recall, try to think in this way, like what did we study about big five model, what is the ocean model, or what are the reasons that a student friendly teacher should think or should learn or should get like taught about the child personality. Try to recall in this way. Thank you so much for being with me. I'm ending this session right now. See you in the next session.